Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anil and in this Laravel video tutorial we will learn about the HTTP client. So seriously, this is a very unique topic of the HTTP client, and very excited also. So now let's start with the points that we are going to cover in this video. First of all, we will see what is the HTTP client, how we can use it, how we can send data from controller to the view, and after that we will just render the data which is we get from the HTTP client to the HTML table, and at the last I will ask you a very important question, and you can attempt this into question in the comment box also, right? So now the question is, what is the HTTP client? So let me ask you a question: why we use the Laravel? For making the website or making the APIs, right? But there is a possibility that sometime we need to call the APIs in the Laravel also. For example, we just making the APIs in the Laravel and we are consuming it in the React and Vue.js and Angular, you can say that, right? But this is a little quite possible that sometime we need to get the data from some Google APIs, from the Amazon APIs or some other website APIs, right? So how we can just use or consume these API in the Laravel? That time HTTP client will help us. For example, this is our dummy API and we want to just consume this in the Laravel and we just want to render this data in the form of HTML. That time HTTP client will help us. It will just provide the data in a JSON format from this URL to our controller or wherever you are actually using it, right? So that is the actually use of HTTP client. So with starting with the code, before just starting with the code, I'm just going to take you on the HTTP client official documentation. You can just simply see that here we are just writing that outgoing HTTP request to communicate with the other web applications, right? So that simply means we can just communicate with the other web applications through the APIs. We can get the data and we can post the data, we can put the data in the other HTTP APIs also, right? So now let's start with an example. Yeah, so first of all, I am just going to open my command prompt and I'm just going to make a controller so that we can just write the code for HTTP client inside the controller. So just put here php artisan make controller and controller name. So let's say my controller name is user controller. Why I'm putting the user controller? Because in this API we have a data related to the users, right? So they are actually pretty similar, that's why I just make a user controller. Our controller is created here. You can just find it if you just want to get it: app HTTP controllers and user controller. So let's make a function here and let's say my function name is index, or you can put any name, this is totally up to you. And for a moment just return here API data will be here, right? That's simple. And now let's go to the web.php and create a route for it, but before that we have to import it. So let's write here use app HTTP controller, actually controllers, and then user controller, right? And you can check out this path here like app HTTP controller and user controller. Now let's create a path here for this. Just write here route colon get, and here just simply put here the URL that you want to pass in the URL address or address bar, users, and the path of your controller, which is user controller common class colon classes, and in the second parameter we can put the function name as in string, which is index here, right? And let's put the semicolon at the last. Right, great. Now let's try to access it on a users controller. So just put here users. Now you can see that API data will be here. We just get a simple text here. Now we have to just import the HTTP client in our controller. So just go here and write here use eliminate support and then just simply put here facade, and just write here http. Right, now let's remove this stuff from here and just simply write here http : get, and just put your API URL. So here is my API URL, and just simply write here like this. Right, so now let's see what we are getting here. Now you can see that we are getting the data as in JSON format, and this is similar to this data, just a font family is actually different. Otherwise you can see that every data is actually matching here. So now I want to render this data in HTML table, so that I have to pass it to the view, but I don't have any view for a moment, so let's create it. So just write here users.blade.php, and just simply write here user list. Right, now I'm just going to make a table here. Right, and just take a tr td one. Here you can put here id, then second, third and fourth, and let's put here name, email address, and at the last you can put here profile photo. Right, so let's just resume for it for a moment and pass it this data to the here, and just simply write here $collection. Right, or you can put any name like item or whatever you want. Right, so now let's pass it to the view, and just simply write here return view, and in the first parameter let's pass the view name, which is users, and in the second parameter let's pass the collection as an array. So just simply put here collection $collection. One more thing, if you did not notice, that here we can directly use the data here. In the data there is an array, and which is actually finished here, like with the all users. So if you want, then we can just avoid this data, because we just need to just draw the users list. Right, so and how we can just get it, we can just directly jump on the data key. So just simply write here data. Right, and now let's put a colon at the last, semicolon at the last. And did I forgot something? Why this is showing me an error? Let me check. Yeah, actually got it that I have to put here a comma, because this is the second parameter. Now let's render this data in the form of HTML table. So this will be my header, and this will be my dynamic data. So for a moment let's try again, but it's not look like in table. So let's make it a table. Just write here border 1, and now you can see that just refresh me again, it's look like a little bit table. So let's take this tr as an inside a loop. So just write here for each, and here we pass the data as an collection. So collection can be like a data or item, whatever you want to put here, and just simply use here these data here. Right, and just here you can see that now we get the data, that how many data we have. So we just got the list here, but these are the static names, so let's make them dynamic. So just simply use here $item id. Now you will find that id is actually dynamic, but other things are still you can say that static. So just make them all dynamic and put here first name. Here you can just find the key, which is first name, and then we can add an email, right? So the all data is fine now, but we cannot use here directly normal text. We need to use here image. So just write here img src, and let's put here $item, and just write here what actually the key name for that, which is avatar, right? And now let's try what we are actually getting here. Now you can see that we are able to get the data here. So if you just want to check this first image, then you will find that the both images are actually similar, right? So that's all for a moment. If you still have any kind of question, you can ask me in the comment box, and please don't forget to subscribe my channel. And yeah, this is the time of interview question. So where it is. So let's say I just want to check the header of this API. Then how can I get the header of this API with the help of HTTP client, right? So you can just attempt this interview question in the comment box, and please don't forget to subscribe my channel and like this video. Bye bye, take care.